St. Jude Children's Hospital continues to lead the way in the world when it comes to understanding, treating, and defeating childhood cancer. In fact, they pushed the overall childhood cancer survival rate from 20% to more than 80% since they opened their doors 50 years ago. In this edition of What's Your Story, a West Monroe man runs the race of his life to honor his son. On Mike McGee's daily runs, he hears more than the patter of his size 14 Hokas.
Who are you talking to? I mean, you're talking to yourself, right? People think you're schizophrenic.
There's nothing wrong with Mike. He's just catching up with his son.
He and I carry on conversations, and especially when it's just he, God, and myself running.
McGee's journey takes us back a few years.
To this day, 22 years later, and I know that may sound like an eternity to some, to me it was yesterday.
At the time, Mike's son was a St. Frederick Jr.
Yeah, Will was something else.
Mike's pride and joy was diagnosed with liver cancer and rushed to St. Jude.
We were told that, that it wasn't going to work. Came back home. Really, I got to see him grow as a man, even though he was 17, and accepted. And he just said, look, this is what God has for me.
Mike was also on a mission. He was off and running and established the Willpower Foundation to raise awareness and funds for the St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. His family's annual Costumes and Cocktails event has raised nearly $1 million over 10 years, numbers that would even draw a smile from Rip from Yellowstone.
We've got to be able to do something back for this hospital, and what they are able to do, Aaron and I will never be able to put in words.
But he can represent. So at the age of 62, Mike was given a special exemption to run the Boston Marathon, waving the St. Jude flag.
I think that's the way God intended it, rather than me qualify years ago, was to be able to run it for them.
As he weaved his way through Boston, one calming voice could be heard as thousands screamed along the streets.
He and I were talking all the way, hey, we got to get through this, okay? You said you wanted to do this, let's get through it. So, yeah, I mean, obviously it was very emotional for me.
McGee had completed his 7th marathon, but his first in 11 years.
Such a sense of accomplishment that, I'm able to do something that, 1% of the world's population has done.
However, Mike says the race to cure cancer will always remain the ultimate goal.
The people like Will that set the path, that the research, the development, that the next time someone is diagnosed with liver cancer, they might have more than a 4 or 5% chance of survival.
That is Mike's story. What is yours? I'd love to tell it. Just drop me an email at aaron.dietrich@knoe.com.